Good afternoon. I'm Beverly Berry with Eagle Vistas, and I'm here with Paul Thompson, an Eagle Vistas Ag Pilot graduate and commercial pilot from last season, 2016. And we just wanted to talk a little bit today about the benefits of taking a loader or support job for an ag operation before you're ready to work as an ag pilot. Paul did take the course with us and is a commercial pilot. It was a little late in the season for him to schedule to get into a job, still needed a little bit more tailwheel time. And we were able to, Eagle Vistas got several opportunities for jobs from operators across the country. And one of the ones that had called us, we asked Paul if he might have an interest in. So he ended up working for an outfit in Georgia with 7 crews, both fixed wing and helicopter ag operations. And I asked Paul if he'd come and just tell us a little bit about some of his duties. He actually started about April, and just finished up here within the last couple of weeks here in November. So he's had quite a season and done a lot of traveling. So I'm going to ask Paul just to tell us a little bit about some of the duties you did and how you felt about the experience.
Sure. Yeah, they were hiring for 2 positions on their ground units. They're usually teams of 4, roughly. You have 2 truck drivers, CDL drivers. You have a turnkey, which is like a crew leader, and then you have the pilot. I did crew leading, and that's pretty much arranging all logistics and hotel rooms, shape files for the pilot, mixes, chemical mixes, and LZs, heliports, stuff like that. You're figuring out all of the major logistics. So pretty much they'll give you a day or 2 of training, show you how to use the computer basically in your training. They'll give you a booklet which shows you how to get in contact with different counties and stuff to arrange water billing.
And permits and things, you'd mentioned that.
Yes, and so that goes over the basics. There's also telephone numbers you can call to get a hold of management if you have any problems with that, like that. But that, I mean, once you're on the field, you kind of got to just go with it, and you're kind of just on your own. So you got to figure out a lot of that. It's mainly a lot of math and figuring out mixes. You can also use the computer program to help you out a lot.
What program did they use?
It was a program they actually created themselves.
So a spreadsheet. Yeah.
So it was,
Okay.
it was their own that they made up, which was nice because it had all the types of chemicals that we used. So like glyphosate,
refill,
and, MSO, and all the stuff that we used. It already had all the weights and all that memorized, and so that was actually pretty simple. You could just put in, how many gallons you have in each tank in a particular truck. It would tell you exactly how much gallons of water you need. That kind of stuff is pretty quick. But a lot of times the computer wouldn't work, and so you had to do it by calculator, and that would happen. A lot of things breaking down. We would have little Honda motors and stuff break down on the pumps on the back of our trucks. So you have to be kind of mechanical and figure out how to fix stuff. Nozzles would break, so you learn a lot about switching out nozzles. We have quick connects on our fuel would break. That happened countless times, so you'd keep a lot of toolboxes and stuff on your truck. And so I got pretty good at fixing things, and learned a lot about nozzles, because we would clean out a lot of the nozzles and the screens and the diaphragms, and because we would go from corn to forestry, and now we're putting out a different type of mix and a different type of chemical. So we have to clean all the tanks of the trucks out, all the nozzles from scratch. Then you're putting out different rates, so you'll learn, sometimes like you'll be putting out 15 gallons per acre versus 3 gallons per acre or 2 gallons per acre. So you get to know a lot about the business, how it works, corn, forestry, sugarcane, pipelines with the oil work, and you meet other pilots and other groups. That a lot of people were flying offshore that we bumped into.
Okay.
I bumped into some fixed-wing airplane pilots in the Louisiana
Ag.
area. Ag, all agriculture, yes.
Mhm.
That was a big ag area. But for the most part, I bumped into all helicopter crews like myself,
Okay.
out of hotels and stuff, and that was in Kentucky and Indiana. The company that I was working with pretty much dominated the Georgia area, so it's pretty much just us out there with all the contracts. So I didn't bump into much people the first several months.
Well, where are some of the states you worked last summer?
Worked in North Florida, a lot of work in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Indiana, Texas, Louisiana.
That's some territory, huh? Yeah.
Yes, a lot of driving, but that was actually kind of the good part. That was when you had a break.
Right.
Yeah, you got to have a break and a drive, but it was still even arranging doing that because you're a lot of times, like it was the first time for me driving a big dolly truck. So I'm driving a big dolly truck and I'm pulling a 20-foot trailer, and I'm going into one moment I could be going.
Plan where you're going.
Right. One moment I could be driving through Gatlinburg, Tennessee, in a big city, and then hours later I could be driving down a dirt road that hasn't been on 15 years, old logging roads, and then you're down to using your laptop, your computer, and you're trying to you're trying to find coordinates. The coordinates, if you're using a regular GPS system like the truck drivers are using, because they don't have an actual laptop, those coordinates will lead you right in the middle of the woods, or they'll lead you down a road that has a bridge that's been out for 15 years because that road hasn't been driven on. So you have to use a lot of your computers, to find your spots.
Yeah.
So and you work together with the pilot too. Sometimes there's times where the pilot has to call us up and say like, hey, that road's out about 5 miles ahead of you, and let us know there's no way in that way. So it's definitely interesting. And as far as the pilot stuff goes, yeah, you do a lot of work for him. You provide all the shape files and everything for him. So like our main office would send me a lot of paperwork. I would upload it one to a shape file for him, and then he would give it back at the end of the day, and then I would finish it off for him. So I would put the types of chemicals that he sprayed and everything else like that, and set it up for billing. So,
set it up for billing, yeah.
Right, because then the next day, if you don't do it, you'll start getting far behind, and then you'll get a call from the office,
Right.
like the field in Kentucky, the 233 acre, what chemical did you
Where
use,
was it?
or how come you missed a corner over there? A corner's not on the shape file, it's right. You're not going to remember because you've done sprayed, hundreds of tracks since then, and working very long hours. So you kind of got to keep up with it as you go.
Mhm.
It's a lot of learning. It's a lot of very fast-paced, long hours. But you definitely learn a lot.
Yeah, and you made some good contacts and some prospects for some work
Yes.
for next summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're busy working those prospects and
Mhm.
getting connections going. Yeah. Well, good. Just was interested in hearing how you felt about it and whether you thought it was beneficial, even though there were long days and whatever. If you thought it was of value to you as it going into ag work.
Yeah, it was definitely valuable. Really getting into the maps and the shape files and getting into the mix, actually doing a lot of the mixing, that was all beneficial. I think if I would have just gotten into a plane position where
Straight to flying, you wouldn't have known that
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And so it worked out good, the type of position that I was working in also, like versus just hooking up a hose or just, not doing much. You wouldn't learn as much.
Right.
But if I guess it depends on the pilot that you're working with, how much some of the pilots would do a lot of that on their own. And if they do, then you just got to learn from them.
Right.
It worked out kind of good for me because a lot of the pilot pretty much just jump in the plane and go, or jump in the helicopter and go. They don't really do, they're not involved with
You
nothing.
kept them going, yeah.
Right.
You kept them going and making the money.
Right.
That's where it's at, is
Yep.
making the money, yeah. Well, and you've given me some good ideas to ask the operators when I talk to them about loader or support staff positions for next year, because I can see that there's a lot more to it than just one simple job description. There are several that could still provide that same kind of experience and benefits for an ag pilot that's looking to get in the business. Yeah. Okay. Well, Paul, I want you to keep in touch with us. We want to help you in any way we can, and appreciate your stopping by and giving us this information today so we can share it. Most likely we'll be getting it out on our website as part of one of our instructional videos. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Glad that things went well for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.